we have to address it because I've been hearing so much about the food prices, how crazy they have been. They've been going up. And, we're in a time of inflation. And I asked you recently, are you concerned about the inflation? And you said you're concerned, but you're not worried. Tell me about that. What do you mean by that?
Because since I've been in this country, we have gone through so much inflation. And um, inflation, it doesn't reach a point of recession. When it's recession, that's when I'm very, very, very concerned because then people will be losing their jobs. Children probably can't even go to school. People can't get nothing to eat. That's when the economy is very bad. But inflation, it's what it's gonna do. And before I get to recession, it dries up people um, money. I mean, your savings and everything will be dried up because you're paying more for stuff like you see the prices of gasoline, the food price has gone up like you never see it before. I mean, people who stop eating rice might have to go back to rice because you can stretch it or anything that swells, which is very bad for people's health. So the part that I'm concerned about is what's going to happen to people's health because we're having a recession. People can't afford to buy food. They're going to eat the wrong stuff. They're going to go back to the wrong stuff, things that can stretch and put more on their table or whatever. That's my concern, really. Yeah.
Yeah, here in Orlando, apples have gone up 75%. I did the math based off of the
Yeah.
numbers that I've been hearing. So, or the apples have gone up 75%, and these are the cheapest apples. Blueberries,
Hmm.
the big bag of blueberries from Whole Foods that you get out the freezer, that's gone up by $2, which is a 25% increase. Even the smaller bags of blueberries have gone up by $1,
Hmm.
which is probably around a 25% increase too, because I believe they used to be around $4 or something like that, or
Hmm.
three, something like that. Um, from the articles I've been reading, they're saying food inflation has risen almost 9% annually, and the cost of agriculture chemicals like fertilizers and pesticides have risen nearly 50% over the last year. And many of those chemicals are sourced in Russia. So, of course, this war and all our sanctions against Russia has affected this. But I feel like if you're buying, and the numbers that I just told you for what's happening in Orlando, Florida, that's all organic produce, right? So I feel like that mostly because, organic, you're thinking very minimal, they're not really using heavy pesticides or whatever. So I feel like most of that is coming from the gas prices that have been crazy.
Yes.
Um,
Right.
and that is due to the war. So we can't. I mean, in some other articles, I think I shared with you an article from Tasting Table that said that because the food prices are going up so rapidly, they're concerned that this is going to actually increase our obesity issue. I
That's
would love to know, like, what are you thinking about this? Like, what are you doing in response to these prices?
well. What I have been doing. I'm eating smaller portion. I am cutting back on the amount I eat to maintain the food that I'm eating presently and not to go back to where I was because I don't look back. I want to go forward. And I just cut down on portion size and and watch my money careful. Watch it very careful how you spend, where you spend, because as much as the price is high, there is always a lower price someplace else. And the sad thing about it, you can still get organic, you can still get the right stuff, but I've had so much bad experience with organic fruits sometimes. Like I bought some pears at Costco. I call out the name Costco because a lot of people shop there, so they should know. And it's like 3 weeks now, the pears are still hard. So, and it's organic pear. So what's about that? And it's not like it's not a ripened pear because one become ripened, but when you get to the inside of it, it was hard. Like something wasn't ready with those pear. What they're doing, they're picking the things before they're ready. So it retards the ripeness and everything of the fruit.
Yeah.
So, people are not getting what they're paying for, so that's one of the sad things. But
So
I'm not worried, to be honest.
in response to that, that's one of the encouraging points for why people like to work directly with farmers. So like now it's summertime, people are going to the farmers market, um, because they pick them before they're ripe, because of the whole chain of getting it from the farm to the distribution place, and then the distribution place has to take it to the grocery stores. It has to look good in the grocery stores, because if
Right.
they're
Exactly.
imperfect, they get thrown away. And so there's just so many hands it's touching going that way, as opposed to
Hmm.
like if you go to a farmer's market or you're part of a CSA, or yeah, farmer's market or CSA is touching less hands. And then the other
Right.
alternative too is growing your own food, which if you live in New York, I don't know who in New York is growing pears. Hit me up, let me know. I
No,
would love to learn about it.
there's a lot of things you cannot grow in New York because the summer is short. For me, growing is out. It's out of the door because it's just a lot of work, and you spend more money for the soil and more money for the seeds and the stuff than the amount of stuff you get from it. So I'd rather go to a farmer's market. Now, my issue is, and I've been searching from spring until now to find a farmer's market nearby me. Nowhere to be found. Nowhere. I would have to go to Long Island, and I don't know where out there the farmer's market. But I'd love to go because I like the idea of going to a farmer's market, not getting my stuff in plastic bags, get a basket and put my stuff in it. Remind me of the days when we used to shop with our basket. They wait, you put it in a basket, you come home, you wash your stuff, you put it away. But there is nowhere I can find. No, I'm not living in that area. It's sad. That's the sad part.
So I have a special gift for all of you listening today. In the show notes will be a freebie downloadable of the farmers markets available in New York, specifically in the 5 boroughs this summer. So you'll be able to have that resource. Also, I love talking to you, Ma, about this thing, because I know you watch money, and I know there's other people in the community who watch the money. I have a different perspective when it comes to stuff like this, but of course I'm at a different stage in my life also. I just, um, and so I have a resource available too that will be in the show notes: 7 books to read during this time of inflation. Because this time of inflation, there's this fear and uncertainty going on. And yes, it's valid. At the same time, my mindset is like, I don't have time to be afraid and to be worrying about the $2 increase or the $1 increase. Because like you said, I don't want to go backward. I want to go forward, which means I just need to make more. So I need to, for some of these resources I'm going to have for you on these 7 books, they're telling you how to get your mind right to ask for a raise. Now is a great time to do that. How to start a business and make the sale. Get your money mindset right in terms of doing that. Because when you own your business, when you are responsible for the money coming into your business, you cannot be afraid to talk about money and ask for the sale, right? And so there's a lot of mindset work that goes on with that. And then also budgeting, like the bare basics. Now is the time to make sure you have the foundation of budgeting, of knowing where your money's going, so you can understand how to live within your means right now and increase your income, right? You want to live within your
Right.
means and increase your income, right? Because you can't save your way to wealth, and wealth allows you to weather times like these and actually flourish in times like these. Because when we have recessions and things, which based off of what I'm reading, it sounds like if we're not in it right now, it's coming. Recessions are great opportunities when you have wealth. You can actually invest in assets without being fearful that you will, um, you know, be
Go
homeless or
broke.
whatever. Yeah.
Right. But during my lifetime, because we're living in a different time now, but during my lifetime, we have gone through things like this. Okay? We had recession, we have inflation, where the price get inflated. But when I was working, making my money,
Mm-hmm.
Those things never bother me. I never pay attention to it. But I mean, we feel it when we go to the grocery store, where we go, oh, well, this is higher this week. What happened? But we never sit down and worry about it. But I find that the younger people nowadays, I think they're more concerned. And when I was younger, I probably was just too busy do what I'm doing and never really pay attention to that because I was able to buy whatever I need because I was working. Now I'm retired. You and every retired person out there know it. You're in a fixed income.
Mm-hmm.
When you get older, you don't eat. Well, I don't eat the garbage I used to eat because the garbage I used to eat costs more than I'm eating now. To be honest with you. But when you get older, you don't eat as much as you eat. You don't have that kind of appetite. You cut down.
Mm-hmm.
So, people retired and seniors, they know exactly how to handle things like this because they've been through it. But the younger person today with family, they're the one who is feeling it more than anybody
Yeah.
because children have to be fed.
The you said the junk you used to eat. I remember most of what you used to eat were actually whole foods, but I do see that the meat and dairy prices have really gone up. So I mean, now is a great time for folks who haven't fully converted to veganism to become a whole
What?
food vegan, not a processed food vegan, because the processed food vegan, you're gonna be spending a lot of money, but a whole food vegan, uh, you're gonna be saving because that meat and dairy right now
What?
is expensive at the
Yeah, but
supermarket.
I was not a McDonald's person, but I used to take my kids to McDonald's and I used to
Mm-hmm.
take my son to McDonald's. And he used to eat at McDonald's, but it was a treat for him. But I saw somebody posted something the other day that they got a burger at McDonald's. It was $11 for the burger, no tomato, no salad, and
McDonald's,
$11. Yes. So I'm wondering,
$11. Wow.
I could take 11. I could take $11 and make a meal for four people
That's a whole
and have
salad at Sweet
leftovers.
Green. That is a
No,
whole.
but I could come home and make me a sweet green salad and have leftovers for eleven
Yeah.
dollars. So what I'm
McDonald's has
trying to
gotten
say is
expensive. Wow.
you got to be smart. You see, if you're in money management, you should know how to handle yourself when there is a inflation.
Yeah.
As long as people don't get into a depression, because when there's a recession, there comes a depression. It's
Which is
inflation.
why which is why you want to download my 7 books to read during this time of inflation, because that mindset, getting your mind right, putting positive energy into your mind, because when you have that positive energy focused on a goal, you don't have time for the fear and the negativity, right? When you focus on the negativity, that's going to grow. It's going to be a painful time. But if you focus on the positivity and have a strategy
Yes.
of what you need to do, then you just have faith. You have to have faith. And I'm going to bring God up in
Exactly.
here because
Oh,
God is,
yes, you
it's
can't leave
all of
him
it,
out of
right?
it. No, leave him out of it because guess
Right?
who is in control? He is in control.
Control. Yep.
That's why don't worry. Why
Yeah.
worry when you can pray? Yes.
Exactly, right? That's what prayer is for. You have the strategy, which this resource is going to give you, the 7 books to read during this time of inflation. You have the plan. You do the work and you pray. You have faith in God that the actions, the plan and the actions will bear fruit. And what doesn't bear fruit, you give it enough time and it doesn't bear fruit, you learn from the experience. Nothing is ever a waste of time. Every so-called
No.
failure is a learning lesson. You learn something.
Exactly. Exactly. And I get to understand that inflation is good for the economy.
Tell me
Isn't
about
that
that.
something? Well, I hear people say inflation, that's what gonna boost inflation is when interest rate goes up, and by the interest rate goes up, it's good for the economy. In a little while, you're gonna see people get jobs, things gonna bloom in, and only because we had inflation. As
Hmm.
long as we don't get into a depression over it, people will be getting jobs. You know, they're gonna need people to work, so it's
Yeah.
good for the economy.
I
As
mean,
long as they don't stick around too long. It reminds me of a vacation. Okay, Mr. Inflation, you come on vacation. How long is the vacation? Don't stay too long
you know what? It's so
because if you
funny you say
stay,
vacation because health retreats may have to go on hold right now because I know people have been pent up for the past 2 years. They want to get out, but
yeah,
airfares have spiked almost 19% in April alone, just the month of April. We talked about the gas prices are basically at a premium right now, and food and dining costs are really high. I know you celebrated. Did you recently for Daddy's birthday? Did you notice any difference with the prices at restaurants?
yes, an increase and entree is $4. $4.
Yeah,
I mean, for me, $4 is not bad for what you get, you know. But yeah, there is an increase, and as a matter of fact, you know, but people have to get paid also because there are people working and they need to feed their family. So,
yeah,
this is what I heard. My husband say, your dad. He says that inflation is good for the economy, and he have been through so much inflation, so he know. And when it come on to politics and things like that, he know the time of day with those things, so he kind of know what he's talking about. The price of the tickets to travel is high. You know how much it is to go to London from New York? $1,900. I can just imagine if you're going to China or you're going to Africa,
yeah,
because Africa a long time ago was 1,600, maybe 2,500 now to go to Africa.
yeah.
It is ridiculous. Now we
Which
realize
is
that we don't born with wings, right?
yeah, which is a good time now to practice staycations, and that's what I've been really encouraging my people local here. Every week, I put out a health and wellness weekender, encouraging them to enjoy Central Florida because we're here and there's lots to do in the health and wellness space. Um, to get out and experience it
You
like a
you
vacation.
yes. You
New
and I
York
are
is the
living in a
same.
vacation country.
Yeah.
Yeah, we live in it. The only thing that we have to pray, 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 because the crime is getting very, very, the crime cannot be worse out there on the street where people knocking people over. So we have just so much things to be concerned about. That's why we have to pray about these things.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah.
dangerous everywhere. I just read about this journalist who got shot, and she was clearly, like, over in, like, Syria or someplace, and she was clearly wearing a journalist vest or something. Um,
I think, yeah. Wasn't it in the same place where they're having the war now? And that
um,
was,
yeah, I don't know. I can't even remember. I
yeah,
just
yeah.
remember thinking,
It's
like, oh, man, people sign up to do these jobs. I wonder why, because it's so dangerous.
yeah, but
Um,
somebody have to do it.
yeah, and I guess, they enjoy it.
It's
Those types of people,
it's
they like the.
unfortunate though, because they don't sign up to be killed. They sign up for a job.
Yeah,
It's unfortunate.
yeah. But anyway, I just mentioned that to highlight that it's dangerous everywhere. Always be conscious of your surroundings, and
Yeah.
pray when you leave the house. I always pray when I'm driving, especially or anybody else. I'm in a moving
Pray
vehicle,
when you
whether it
pray
be a
when you get up
plane
in
or
the
a
morning.
car. I pray that God just put his protection over the vehicle, over this mode of transportation, and get me to my destination safely. And prayer is more important now than ever. But that doesn't mean you live in fear. That, like you said, you pray, you give it up to God, and God is going to handle the rest. You do what you could do right now in the present moment, and God will handle the rest. But I know
A
I
car don't run.
personally,
Yeah.
but a car doesn't run on
Go
what?
ahead. Sorry. A car don't run without fuel. You and I cannot live without prayer.
Right.
We have to pray. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know some people don't like to hear it because they're like, oh, um, but
Well,
the
let
thing
me
is,
tell you.
yeah,
My
for
God is bigger
me,
than all the problem.
right. I just don't, honestly, when I see people who suffer with resiliency, like they cannot cope with things that are happening, they tend to not have a strong spiritual foundation, whatever it looks like, you know,
And that's
whatever
the
you
time you
call it.
need strength spiritually, you know. When
Yeah.
things are happening, that's when you really need, don't think you're going through it alone. God is with you, you know, and He's sometimes just testing your faith. He want to you to realize. He want you, not Him, because He know you. He want you to realize how strong your faith is. He put us to the test. Okay, don't let us preach. I know it's a
Yeah. I
podcast.
mean, because I know we have personal beliefs on that, and we put a lot of things on God that don't necessarily have to be true. But what we do know is
No.
we only have control over what we have control over, and the rest is gonna be what it is, you know, at its simplest form. So it's like you either stress about it or you don't. You choose not to. You know?
Well, either you live or you die. You know,
Yeah.
some people give up give up hope of living. So if you
Yeah.
want to live, if you want to live, you just continue doing the thing that is positive and what is right. Because negative things can kill you also, you know.
The
Yeah.
negativity I find, and that's what I've been noticing recently, because you know, folks in the raw food health empowerment circle know that I've been reading Dr. Brooke Goldner's book on autoimmunity, right? She helps folks reverse autoimmune disease. She herself had lupus and she reversed her lupus. She's helped folks reverse stage 4 kidney failure. And her book, there's literally like 2 chapters on nutrition, and most of it is psycho-emotional. And I find that the hardest thing to do, honestly, for all of us, sick or not, is to be positive. More, it's harder than even food changes. But just being positive on a daily basis is very difficult.
But you know, Sam, your environment of being positive is very important. It depends on your environment, you know. Because up to this morning, we were talking about the same thing around the breakfast table. Environment means a lot. Because if you're around people that doesn't think positive, and you're the only one, then there is a problem there. So if everybody is in realm of the same thing, you know, it works out better. It's like
Yeah.
you get nourishment, you feed me nourishment, and I feed this next one. Everybody will be nourished, you know.
Yeah.
Positivity is like having nourishment in your body that make you strong, you know.
Right. And unfortunately, we don't have control over other people, which is why I created the Self Care for Less Stress program, which is centered around creating an environment for yourself and within yourself to maintain peace, right? Because
Hmm.
peace alleviates the stress. But when you have that peace, you have space for the joy, regardless of
Hmm.
what is happening around you. So I'm going to make sure to link to all these resources. The first 2 I mentioned in the earlier are free resources. And then the Self-Care for Less Stress is a one-on-one program to take you through that journey to set up your space. I know, Ma, you experienced that too when you came to visit us in Chicago, and you came in the room, and even you felt it because I created it. I between
The
using
energy,
crystals and essential oils and
energy,
prayer,
you could feel it. Like you
you
don't
could
want to
feel
leave
it.
that room. Yeah, the energy. Yes,
Yes. So it's
positive
like you
energy.
create it for yourself, but other people feel it. And it's not a woo woo thing. This is real because everything is frequency. This is just, what is it, biochemistry or whatever. It's science, right?
Yeah,
Everything
yeah.
is frequency. We're
Hmm.
all frequency. The table, the laptop, like everything is frequency. And so what you came in that space and felt was an energy that I created, right? And we all have
You're
the
right. Yeah.
potential because, in LA, the space was different. And so that's where this
Yeah.
program was birthed out of me trying to recreate that energy in LA, in a place that was very heavy emotionally for me, because everywhere you look, you see homeless people and the cost of living is really high. So it was like, it was really stressful environment. It's a beautiful place, but stressful place to live, I think.
Stressful. But you know, if you walk with a negative energy and you walk into a room that's filled with positive energy, you're not going to feel it. So this is why you have to build yourself daily to be positive about things. You have to build yourself up like anything else. Yeah.
Internal work.